Does making 6 figures a year change your life? That's what we're going to discuss today. Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna just have a discussion, okay? It seems nowadays that everybody's goal online is to make 10,000 per month. That is equivalent to about 120k a year, which is over 6 figures. But if you make that amount of money every year, does it actually change your life? Are you happier? Are you more fulfilled? Do you do more extravagant things? I'm going to give you my opinion. Let me just start off by saying, look, money solves so many problems. Okay, money of course does not make you happiness. Money buys you freedom, and obviously with freedom, time, location, and financial freedom, what you can do is whatever you want to do. It solves problems such as not being able to afford rent, being able to help your parents out, giving back to people who are in need, right? It solves a ton of problems. You know, if you've got college debt or anything like that, if you have any debt in your life, money is going to help you get out of that. So I just want to make that really clear that money does solve problems, right? It creates freedom in your life if you use it correctly, but it's not going to necessarily make you happy. Freedom can make you happy, but it's what you do with that freedom that really matters, right? If you make 100k a year, but you just watch Netflix all day, you're probably not going to be that happy. You might have a very low stress lifestyle, but are you going to feel fulfilled? Maybe not. Whereas if you make 100k a year, but you work 60 to 70 hours a week, and it's not something that you so much enjoy, but it's more just that you have to do it to keep making that amount of money, well then yes, that's probably not going to make you happy. But like I mentioned, one key thing that I see pretty much with anybody who makes like that around 100k a year or more is that that's not enough, right? If you've made that amount, you will set your eyes on making 200k a year, 300k a year, all the way up to 1 million or a couple million per year. And this is something I found very true for myself. The second, we got our business to do 10k a month in revenue, I was like, let's get 20. Okay, cool, we got 20, let's get to 30. And then when I look at my personal income, I look at the exact same way. I'm always trying to look at how can I get it to that next level. And I think this is just an incessant thing for pretty much any business or entrepreneurial type person. You have grand ambitions and naturally you're going to keep shifting the goalposts. So you still have something to work towards and you keep progressing. But this can be a negative thing if you don't treat it correctly. If you work 7 days a week consistently every single day and you don't really feel like you're allowed to take time off, that you're allowed to go on vacation and do nothing, or that you're allowed to meet up with your friends and family, then it's going to get a little bit toxic. And this is definitely something that I've struggled with before. I do love my work and I love working. I've definitely been a workaholic in different areas of my life, but being aware of these things should help you so that if you decide, hey, look, I want to do it, right? I want to make 100k a year. You go out and do it, because I do urge you to do it. It is great. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how making money is so great, right? But just be aware that you need to make sure that you keep your personal life, your happiness, your fulfillment, your relationships in good shape as well, right? You can't sacrifice all those things just for money. Well, you can, but I don't advise it. So my first point I want to make sure that is really clear to you is that, look, money does not buy happiness, in my opinion. Money buys you freedom, and it's what you do with that freedom then is going to determine your happiness. The second thing I want you to understand is that you can work for your money or your money can work for you. Okay, so ways in which I make my money work for me is that I build systems in my business so that the business can run without me. I hire people to do things that I either don't like doing or that I know are just not really a good use of my time. And of course, then you need to look at the other side, right? Of actually spending your money and investing it in the right places so that you're not just keeping money sitting there, right? The third thing you need to look at is your tax situation, right? I don't see a lot of people talking about this. Most people talk about making money. So making the money is the most important thing, right? Okay, you have to get good at making money. But once you've made money, you've got to start to figure out, how do I keep more of my money? You could have a business, right, that makes 7 figures a year and that you profit from that. Let's say you profit 50%. So you make around 500k a year. Well, if you're in a very high tax country, out of that 500k a year, you might only take home 200 or 250,000. In certain countries, even less, right? There's certain countries where you will literally take home 100 or 150 of that 1 million. That to me is just like, why would you even make $1 million if you're going to keep 200? So looking at your tax situation is something that I do urge you to do. If you're just starting off, don't even think about it, right? Like, don't stress about it, because you have to make sure you can learn the skills of making money first. There's no point in becoming this tax expert where you can get your tax down to 0% if you don't know how to actually make money, right? So get good at making the money, make at least 5-6K a month, and then start looking into, okay, cool, how can I now reduce my tax bill by relocating or setting up my company in a different country, whatever that may be. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm none of those things, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what you should do. I'm just explaining that it is something you should look at if you do want your money to go further for you, and that you get to keep more of your money. Point number 4 is that money will change your life on the surface level, right? Of what you buy, how much money you spend, what car you drive, what apartments you stay in, what you do on the weekends, but that is only if you choose to do it, right? Obviously, a lot of people think that if you make 6 figures, multi-6 figures, or 7 figures a year, that you live, a super lavish luxury lifestyle. Well, let me be real with you. Most people who make that money are not doing that. Of course, some people are, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, I definitely have a taste for the finer things in life, but that will only become your new reality if you decide to make that your new reality. Okay, I'm going to give you an example, guys, right? I run a business that does pretty good. I've got a second business, which is my personal brand, which also does pretty good. And I've also optimized my tax situation so that I get to keep the majority of what I make. Now, you don't see me spending a ton of that money, right? If you were to follow me on social media, or you see my YouTube videos here, like, I'm not really out there driving fancy cars. I don't stay in crazy luxury places. Again, sometimes I do, right? And again, I definitely have a taste for these things, and I think that you should use your money to enjoy it, right? You shouldn't just like save it and live super frugally. If you want to buy a sick car, if you can afford it, like twice or 3 times, go ahead and do it. Or if you want to get an apartment that costs 3 to 5K a month, we'll definitely do it if you're making enough to make that make sense. Back to my example, there's many places I've stayed over the last year for just like a 1 month period, right? I've rented through Airbnb, which is naturally, the price you pay on Airbnb is a lot more than if you were to pay direct to a landlord, or if you were to pay someone on a 3, 6, or a 12-month lease. Okay, so there's many times in the last year where I've stayed in places that have cost me €500 to stay there, right? They're by the beach, they've got 2 bedrooms, they've got a pool, they've got a sauna, they've got modern amenities, they've got everything in the apartment is awesome, it's cool, and it's a really nice place to live. But I could go out and spend $5,000 a month on rent. I could spend $10,000 a month on rent. But to me, it doesn't really change my life that much. And this is something that you will find with money that's very, very true, right? Spending more of it doesn't necessarily mean that you get more value, right? The utility, which is like the value you get from something, doesn't always increase in a linear line, okay? So for example, let's say you decide to move out, okay? You've been living with your parents, you start making some decent money, you're making, let's say it's 6 figures, okay? So 8 to 9K a month. And you're like, you know what? I'm doing pretty damn good, right? So I'm going to move out, I'm going to get my own apartment, and you're going to level up. Now, if you were to go out and spend, let's say 1 to 1.5K on an apartment per month, awesome, cool. Like, your lifestyle is going to go up dramatically. Your fulfillment or happiness, all that probably will go up, right? Because you've gone from being with your parents in your probably childhood bedroom to this crazy different lifestyle that now you can live. But if you were to spend $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month on rent, there wouldn't be that much difference, right? Going from 1K a month up to 3K a month in rent, you're not going to get 3 times the value. You might get a little bit more value, right? And you're a little bit more happy and you're a little bit more fulfilled, but you're not going to be 3 times happier or 3 times more fulfilled. So this is something that's very true, I find, with spending money, is that the value you get from spending that money does not increase in a linear way. And this also relates to the amount of money you make. There was a study done, and I cannot remember the name of the study or who did it, but basically it stated that after you make around, I think it was 60 to 70K per year, your happiness and your lifestyle usually doesn't change that much. So going from making 0, let's say, to making 60K a year, it's going to be a crazy difference. Like, that right there will change your life. Or even if you're making 2K a month and you go to making like that 6 or even 5k a month, like that will change your life. But going from 6k a month to 10k a month, there's not going to be much difference. So when you spend money and you make money, more does not always mean that you're going to magically be more happy or more fulfilled. Oftentimes you get a little bit more value and happiness from earning more and from spending more. It's not directly proportionate. But as I mentioned, guys, money is a great thing. Money solves so many problems that you may have in your life. Again, if you're in debt, if you just want to help your family members out, if you want to just upgrade your lifestyle, if you want to do whatever, money solves those problems, right? You can't do those things if you don't have money. I feel like a lot of people demonize money and making money and wanting to make 6 figures, or, you know, $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, whatever it may be. A lot of people demonize that and they think it's, you know, it's so selfish and it's so greedy, right? The way I look at it is that it's actually quite the opposite, right? If you want to make 7 figures after tax to spend 900k on, let's say, fancy cars and a fancy house for yourself, okay, that's kind of selfish. There's still nothing wrong with that. Still nothing wrong with that, right? Because that is your entitlement. You can do that. But if you're making 7 figures and let's say you spend 100k a year, which is more than most people would ever imagine to spend over the course of 5 years, right? Now you have money which can buy you freedom, which means you can spend more time now with your family and your friends. So instead of working all the time in a 9 to 5, you've got more time to help out the people you actually care about. And because you have more money, you could decide to donate to charities, start up a non-profit, whatever you decide to do. Money gives you the freedom to do those things. So if you make more money, if you use it correctly, you will improve the lives of yourself, everyone around you that you care about, and of course, people who may be in need as well if you want to go down that route. So long story short, guys, is that, look, will making a ton of money make you happy? No, right? It's going to give you freedom, and it's what you do with that freedom then that will either impact your life or the lives of others around you. And I do believe that, you know, income can be a direct reflection of the impact you're having. And oftentimes when you have more income, you can have more impact. It's just the way it is, right? If you make money with SMMA, the more businesses you work with, the more you help them, the more money you make. It's a simple correlation between impact and income. So for any of you that want to get started on your way to making money and you don't really know what you want to do, you have an interest in social media and marketing, maybe in what I do, which is SMMA, you can go down below and check out the 6-Figure Accelerator program. This is the program that so many of my students have gone through, where they've gone from making 2k a month while working a 9 to 5 job, just doing this as a side income, to students who are making 10 to 20k a month with their own agency. So go down below, click that link, have a look, book in a call with myself and my team if you want to ask us any questions. And I hope you got some value from this big, long, kind of waffly video about money. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.